Welcome back for lesson 3. We're going to get started with our word problem. So get your whiteboards ready. If you don't have a whiteboard, go ahead and get your paper and pencil ready, and then we're going to get started. Here's our problem for today. Again, it's a little different than the previous 2 days, but this is going to be good for you to think about. It says, Sam has 6 orange cats and 3 brown cats. If his aunt gives him 4 black cats, how many cats does he have in all? So you'll notice we have 3 numbers. We have a 6, we have a 3, and we have a 4 this time. Instead of the word altogether, we don't have that word. We have 2 words, in all, which mean exactly the same thing as altogether. In all means we're going to be adding. Then we're going to box our question, because that's going to be our statement that we're going to make at the end. So we need to know what question we're answering. And now it's time for us to solve our problem. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a picture. Now, today our picture is going to be a little different. So I want you to think about something. We have 3 numbers, and I'm just going to write them up on top here. We have a 6, we have a 3, and we have 4. Those are the numbers that we're working with. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to take a look at that, and I want you to tell me, are there any numbers in there, if I added them together, that equal 10? Because that's the first thing I would look at if I had 3 numbers. If I had 3 add-ins, I would say, is there anything that equals 10? And if I look at that, I might go 6 and 3. Well, 6, 7, 8, 9. Nope, that doesn't equal. How about 3 and 4? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nope. How about 6 and 4? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes. So we know 6 and 4 is a friend of 10. So watch what I'm going to do. The 6 was for the orange cats. So I'm going to put 6 O's up here. And again, I'm going to do it as if it was a 10 frame. So I want you to take a look at this. So I put my 6 in my 10 frame. And I'm going to actually cross off the 6 up here just so I know that I've used it. Now, if I look at this, I can notice that I have 4 empty spots. And that's where my 4 can go for my 4 black cats. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a B for my 4 black cats. And then I'm going to cross off the 4. But I'm not done, because I always have to make sure that I use all my numbers. Now I have my 3. Well, where do I put my 3? My 3 are going to come out here, and these are my brown cats. So I've used up my 3. Now what do I have? Well, I have a full 10 frame, so I have 10 plus what I have on the outside, which is 3. 10, 3 is 13. So I think I have 13, but let's check it out and make sure. So we're going to come down here, and we're going to do our number bond. Now this is what your number bond generally looks like, but is that what it's going to look like today? The answer is no, because we have 3 add-ins. So I'm going to actually draw another line, kind of like we did yesterday when we did 2 extras. Today we have 1. So what I'm going to have you do is fill those in and label them. So go ahead and do that while I do it. And it should look something like mine. Now, to prove our answer, what we can do is we can punch out the biggest number, and then we're going to kind of go on from here. So I'm going to punch 6, I'm going to count up to 3. 6, 7, 8, 9. But I'm not done, so I have to stop at 9, and now I'm going to start at 9 and count up 4. So I have 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 is my answer. Does it match what I have up here? Absolutely. So I'm going to put a 13 here, and I'm going to label this C for cats. But I can't forget to put the 13 in the middle. Now, we need a number sentence. And our number sentence is going to be a lot longer than the normal one, but it's going to be shorter than the one we did yesterday. So let's take a look. We had 6 plus 3 plus 4. And we know it's going to equal something. Now, we said that 2 of those numbers equal 10. So what we're going to do is we're going to circle those numbers. We said 6, and 4 equal 10. So we're going to connect those two numbers and put the 10 down here. Now, we can't forget to add that 3 in. So what I want you to do is put a plus sign here, circle the 3 so it reminds you to bring it down here. So 10 plus 3 again is 13. And go ahead and put a box around the answer so that it reminds you to put the answer in the middle. And the last thing we need to do is we need to answer the question, because it said, how many cats does Sam have in all? So we're going to say Sam has 13, and we're going to put, again, a box around that, cats. And don't forget to put it in the middle. Now, the one thing I pointed out yesterday is I want you to make sure that you don't fill these boxes in until you prove your answer. And what this is doing is giving you several different ways to solve the same problem. It's time for some counting, but today's counting is going to be a little different. It's going to be more practical because money is something that you're going to use for the rest of your life. So I want to take a look at a couple of things. So right here I have 2 dimes, okay? So my question to you is this: how much money is 2 dimes? Well, if I look at this, I don't know if I know for sure. So we're going to try to find out. But before I do that, what I want to do is I want to exchange a dime for something. Do you have any ideas what I would exchange it for so I can find out how much money I have? In this case, we're going to do 10 pennies because a dime is actually worth 10 cents. So I'm going to take 10 pennies and I'm going to trade this dime for 10 pennies. So I have 10 pennies right here. So now I have another dime and then I have these 10 pennies. So let's do some counting so that we can figure out how much it is, but then I want to do another trade. So we always start with the bigger amount. So in this case, the 10 is a bigger amount because each of these is worth how much? That's right, 1 cent. So I have a 10 cent and I have a 1 cent. And this is going to kind of tie into what we did yesterday when we were counting our numbers, because remember I said to you, you have to be careful how you're counting, because if you start counting 10, 20, 30, and then you look at something like this and keep going 40, 50, that's wrong because this is worth 1 cent. So you have to count by tens and then you have to switch it and turn into ones. So watch how we're going to do this and watch how I do it on the table. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my dime, I'm going to say 10, and then I'm going to push them forward as I count them. So here we go. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So I'm pretty sure I have 20 cents. Now let's think about it. I said to you I had 2 dimes that were each worth 10 cents. So it's 10 plus 10, like we said for the past 2 days, is 20. So we have 20 cents. Now what we did was we have 1 dime and we have 10 pennies. Well, what if I trade this one in for 10 more pennies? So if I do that, now I have hopefully 20 pennies. Now, the way I did it was I put them in groups of 5. So we're going to actually count by 5s and see if we come up with the same answer. You ready? Do it with me. 5, 10, 15, 20. So that was pretty fast. It's a lot quicker than going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then keep going. But the even quicker way is just to have our 2 dimes. So what I want to show you is this. We had 20 cents using 2 dimes, but the 20 cents is also equal to 20 ones, which is 20 pennies. Hold on, we're ready for the next part of our lesson. Before we move on, we're going to take this little moment. My little puppies wanted to say hello. They keep jumping up on my legs. So this is Buddy. He says, hello everyone, learn lots of math today. And Beans is right here. Here's Beans. Beans says hello to everyone too. He says, hi, I hope you're learning lots of math. Listen to Mrs. Parsons. Okay, it's time for us to do some counting. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to take your hands and I want you to clasp them together. I want you to think of this as a 10 stick or a group of 10. So we have 10 fingers. Here they are. But can you see all your fingers? Well, I guess if I do this or look around, sure, I can see them all. Now take them apart and wiggle them. Can you see all 10 now? It's a lot easier this way. But if I was counting my fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I could do it, but isn't it easier just to go 10? So that's why we do this. What we're going to do is take a look at some numbers using our cubes again. So if I take a look at these numbers, or these cubes, you'll notice that, again, I have 10 in each cube. And I have a number here. So I have 10, 20, 30. But I also have some ones here, don't I? So I have 31, 32, 33, 34. So I have 3 10s and I have 4 ones. And that looks something like this. So this is our 10s and 1s frame. So you have 3 10s, which are right here, and we have 4 1s, which are right here. So altogether, I have the number 34. So I want you to think about that again, like I said the other day. 34. So you can hear it broken down. So here's the question. What is the value of this 3? Now that's a lot different than the question, how many groups of 10 do you have? Okay, so this is where we're going today. I want you to be able to see that the number 34 is made up of 3 10s and 4 1s, but you also need to be able to see it as 34 1s. Because if I broke it all apart, it would look something like this if I laid it all out. This is what 34 looks like. So this here is exactly the same as this here. There's no difference. It's kind of like us with our clasped hands. Here's 10, but here's 10 as well. So it's all in a matter of what it looks like. I didn't take any out. I didn't add any in. There's still 34. So 34 can look like 3 10s and 4 1s, or it can look like 34 1s. It's the same thing. So what I want you to do is I want you to make sure that you understand that both of these numbers are 34. And you're going to get some practice with this today in your workbooks. Now, before we do that, I wanted to do a little something here. So if I give you a number, I want you to be able to tell me how many ones it is. So if I said, oh, I'm going to do 5 10s and 7 1s. It's the same as how many ones? Right, 57. So 57 ones. How about the number 29? 2 9. 2 10s, 9 1s. How many ones is that equal to? That's right, 29. This isn't hard, is it? You just have to look at it differently, that's all. And lastly, how about the number 99? That's right, 9 10s and 9 1s is the same as 99 ones. So I want you to think about that. Basically, you're keeping the number the same, the way it looks, as far as numerals goes. So if you look at the number, that kind of tells you how many ones it's going to be. Okay, now it's time for us to look at our assignment for today. What we're going to do is page 9 and page 10 in your books. Page 9 looks something like this. And we're going to do the first problem together. So on page 9, the first thing you see is something that looks like this. It says blank 10 and blank 1s is the same as blank 1s. Well, I know that this here is a group of 10. Now again, to stay organized, what I want you to do is I want you to circle your groups of 10 again. So I want you to circle that group of 10, and then what you're going to do is you're going to say 110, and then how many ones are there? 1, 2. And 2 1s is the same as how many? Well, if I put these numbers right next to each other down here, 1 and 2, I come up with the number 12. Now let's prove it. We have 10, 11, 12. We have 12. Does that match? Absolutely. So this page should not be hard for you, but I do want to make sure that you're staying organized, and I want you to make sure that you circle those 10s. Now, Let's look at the next page. Page 10 for you guys is going to be a little tricky. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be a little tricky. So you're going to have to do some matching on this page, and it's going to look something like this. Okay? Now, you're trying to match from this side to this side. Now, this is how I want you to do it. I want you to take a look at each one of these. And I want you next to them to write what number it is. So if I have 3 10s and 2 1s, what number is that? Well, if I do 3 10s and 2 1s, I know my number is 32. And I'm going to keep going. So write all your numbers here. The next thing I want you to do is go to this column. And you're going to do the exact same thing. So this one says 29 ones. Well, if it's 29 ones, I know my number is 29. So I'm going to keep going down this column. And then I can draw a line easily connecting the matching numbers. Now, there's one tricky part on this, and I want to point it out to you. I want you to look at the very bottom of the page, because there's nothing saying that the 10s have to come first when they're telling you the problem. In this case, they said 9 1s and 2 10s. So I want you to make sure you think about where those digits go in your number. Don't get tricked by it. Have your parents send me a picture of what you do, and we'll go from there.